My first tale is of a young prince who decided one morning he was going to go hunting. And he met up with a pack of demonic hounds with ears that glowed like red coals. The Prince of Dyfed and a king of the other world.
From his court in Arbeth, Pwll, Prince of Dyfed and Lord over the 7 regions, set out to hunt deer. There was an early sun over the valley of Glencirch, but it was dark in the woodland, and soon Pwll lost contact with his riding companions. The prince steered his horse through the tangled trees, following his crashing dogs. Suddenly their high cries ceased, and all the birds stopped singing. The woods became silent except for a deep, harsh baying. Pwll rode towards a grassy clearing and came upon a dead stag surrounded by small but fiery hounds. Their coats were a blinding white and their ears like glowing red coals. Bravely, the prince urged his horse into the glade, charged wildly at the dogs, and scattered them away. As his own pack returned and grouped around the deer, a huntsman rode out from the trees and hailed him. "Lord, I will not greet you because you have driven off my hounds from their prey." At these words, the prince promised to make up for his discourtesy. "Well," said the stranger, "this is how to win my friendship. I am Arawn, king of Annwn, the other world. And I have a neighbor called King Havgan, who is forever causing trouble. Yet, whenever I hit him more than one stroke, the next day he is as well as he was before." Then the king related a plan to defeat his enemy, to which Pwll agreed to help. So Arawn used his otherworldly powers to endow each man with the other's features, stature, and clothing, such that there was no man, woman, or child could have known of the changes. For 12 months, in the guise of the Prince of Dyfed, the king of Annwn lived in the court at Arbeth, and no one saw through the disguise. Meanwhile, the prince lived in the realm of the other world, and it was the most richly blessed with meat, drink, and jewels that he had ever seen. As the king, the prince dressed in gold-brocaded silk and spent his time as all kings do, singing, dancing, and hunting. Then one appointed day at the year's end, Pwll faced King Havgan across a shallow river, dividing their 2 lands. From each side of the ford, the 2 horsemen charged, leveling their spears. The prince struck Havgan so hard in the center of his shield that it split in half. His armor splintered into 1,000 pieces, and their regal owner went flying backwards over the horse's tail. Mortally wounded, he pleaded, "For pity's sake, make a quick end of me." But Pwll remembered Arawn's warning. Hit Havgan more than once, and next day he will arise as well as before. And therefore he would not cast another blow. With Havgan dead, Pwll was able to subdue his land and take it in the name of the king of the other world. Immediately he made for the valley of Glencirch, and 1 year and 1 day after their first encounter, the 2 deer hunters met again. With thanks, Arawn turned himself and the prince back into their true selves. Then each man returned to his own court, and there was no man, woman or child who knew of the changes. From then on, deep friendship existed between the Prince of Dyfed and the King of the other world, with many presents of horses, hawks and hounds passing back and forth. Luckily for the prince, though, the dogs were of the normal breed, not the fiery sort, with coats of blinding white and ears like glowing red coals. He would not have welcomed them at all.